He makes her bid for a little piece of history.
Hello and welcome to the Run of the Race. I'm Brittany Taylor, joined by Mark Warwood. And Mark, the numbers out of Saturday, probably one of the more interesting sets of data we'll analyse today.
Certainly people will be looking for pointers towards those big Group 1 races, in particular the Winterbottom and Enticing Stars run.
Well, we'll review all of that throughout the course of the program, but we'll start from the top at the very beginning. Let's have a look at this win by Dance Music. What a win it was for this little filly. Sat 3 deep the trip and still got the job done.
Whispers had found the rail and led Ship Creek about a half to 3/4. Over on the outside there is Dance Music sitting deep, doing it the hard way. Ridden along on the inside, Drift Star. In the middle is Euphonious. Right behind them then Pablo's Poem, following Dance Music to the home corner. Carberry's looking to come away from the fence with Cup Night, Carolina Reaper and Superstardom last of all. They're into the straight where Dance Music comes out after Stares and Whispers. 2 lengths to Pablo's Poem under the whip though from Stone, and Dance Music boots away at the 100 metres mark. Dance Music clear of Pablo's Poem. Down the outside is Cup Night. It's Dance Music though running through the line strongly, and Dance Music gets home.
Gee, Mark, I thought this win was so impressive. To be able to sit 3 deep, no cover, and the type of filly that she is and still be able to go on and win, really good performance.
Yeah, we'll come back to her. I think the Forgive horse here is Pablo's Poem. I thought it was a very good run an overall benchmark of -7.9, so very, very good and much faster than the class. He probably just wants a little bit farther than the 1100 metres. The Forget horse has to be Drift Star. He's only won when he's led. He probably needs 1,000 metres rather than the 1100, and he probably wants easier as well. And then the follow horse is Dance Music here. Was wide throughout, a very light filly, so you're going to have to see her in the mounting yard next time she runs it, and obviously listen to what Brittany says on the back of Jarmies.
Well, I think that is the key, is to get her early in her prep, because she's had that little freshen up, not a full spell, but in that last run that she had before this run on Saturday, she was really crabby in the yard. She's so light that every run is going to take condition off her, so it's hard for them to keep it on her. So I think maybe next start we can still be on, but you know, going into the third start we may just start having to monitor her a little bit. A horse that doesn't matter when you get it in its prep, the Naconian, has been so consistent at its 12th start this campaign, gets the job done.
The favourite In Love with Paris, who's going to race up there and be prominent throughout with Happy Harry on the rail. Stable Secret shading it. A fast move now from back in the field. Regal Moon sent forward, and Lucky Raw found its back. One short looking to come away from heels into the corner. Pearl Trade's kicked up underneath Slick Sam. Thunderstrut, Sovereign Trade on the Terps. Into the straight, 250 to go. And the Naconian put 2 lengths on In Love with Paris. A similar margin, Happy Harry, followed by Stable Secret. Further back, Pearl Trade. 150 left to go. The Naconian's the leader. In Love with Paris trying to rally, but the Naconian's responding well, and he's going to do it from barrier to box. The Naconian scored from In Love with Paris.
The ever consistent The Naconian winning there. Mark, what was your take on this race?
Yeah, I like the Naconian, but I do prefer him over Shorter, so he's not going to appear in the file here. The Forgive horse, I think, is on the Terps. Finished 6th, was slow away. Raced pretty ungenerously, did come home with the fastest last 200. The Forget horse, Regal Moon. This horse should have won 3 or 4 times this preparation. Slow away again, raced ungenerously, and just simply does far too much wrong. If she ever jumps with them and leads like she did in the trial, she'd be winning, but not for mine. The follow horse, I think, might be a Sovereign Trade here, was 8th, slow into stride, over race, did come home with the 2nd fastest last 200 metres, and most significantly was first up without a trial.
All right, there are Mark's files. You know the horse that really impressed me? Pearl Trade. When you think back to how this horse used to be, it used to be a nightmare to ride, but has a 3 kilo claimer in Emma Stenton, just raced perfectly and was hitting the line nicely. So really good to see that maturity coming from Pearl Trade. The third event was taken out by Queen Bay, and watch Chrissy Parnham at his very best to get this horse over the line.
They're virtually from the word go. Brothers Keeper second. Stakes riding along Salon de Chevelle. Mississippi Delta's had a sweet trip for Pike down on the inside there of Thunderclap Newman. Then Dark Prospect and Queen Bay pushed to pass again, dropping out last Gold Artisan. 5 Degrees will turn at the 350, a length and a half in front at the top of the straight from Brothers Keeper, Salon de Chevelle. Mississippi Delta's down on the inside. Queen Bay's trying to work around heels from Dark Prospect. 150 to go. Pike now comes off the rails with Mississippi Delta. 5 Degrees in front, not for long. Mississippi Delta draws level. Queen Bay's charging. Mississippi Delta now diving. Queen Bay lunges.
A very tight go there. Chris Parnham getting the upper hand on William Pike. How do you assess this one?
Difficult. I don't think there's a Perth Cup winner in this field. The Forgive horse for mine is Dart Prospect. Finished third, ran on really well again, but he simply doesn't like Ascot. I think he needs the longer straight at Belmont Park. The Forget horse, no knock on 5 degrees, finished fourth in this race, but I don't think she's got the turn of foot to beat some of the better gallopers at the 72 plus level. And the Follow horse, a bit difficult here. I am going to go with Queen Bay, fastest sectionals, but as I said off the top, I don't think there's a Perth Cup winner in this field.
All right, let's have a look at the next race. It was won by the Celt at big odds. Blinkers going on, seem to do the trick.
Katie Whitten has gone to the lead now by a length over the Celt. Jing Tang third. Get the Vibes up, running fourth there. Well placed to the home bend. Viking Forest under pressure down on the inside. Then came Stage Man about to be pulled out, commencing his run from How to Fly. Stocks My Greek Boy. And last of all at the top of the straight is Showcase, but it's Misty Metal who'd got a length and a half on the Celt, and they've put about 3 or 4. Jing Tang followed further back by Stage Man, who's a long way off these leaders, nearing the 100. Misty Metal of the Celt there, the two fighting it out. The Celt driving it, Misty Metal, the Celt on the outside of Misty Metal. It's the Celt.
The Celt and Misty Metal just kicked clear on the bend, and ultimately it was the Celt who got the upper hand in the race. Who makes the files in this one, Mark?
Yeah, I'm going to forgive Showcase here. Was pretty slow away. Certainly didn't start as well as was expected. Was too far back and came home with the third fastest last 200 metres. The Forget horse, unfortunately, has to be stocked. That was his first run for Jake Casey. He's only beaten one horse home in his last 3 starts. Simply not the galloper we saw maybe 2 years ago. And the Follow horse, again, pretty reluctant here, but I am going to kind of forgive/follow Stage Man. Had the fastest sectionals. The race wasn't run to suit due to the slow tempo. They went very slow early on. Jing Tang, who was the other horse on the speed, ran in a flat manner. Other than that, it was on pace dominated.
And Stage Man, you always see the flashing home, but if the pace isn't on up front, sometimes they're not able to quite reel them in. All right, we'll take a quick break, and on the other side of this, we will look at the back half of the meeting, including the 3 features.
The countdown is almost over. Get ready to witness racing at its finest with the Tap Touch Masters. It's a celebration over 3 Super Saturdays, featuring fabulous fashion, food and $1 million races. So dress up, celebrate and get your heart racing with the Carnival's finest. Book now at perthracing.com.au.
Welcome back to the run of the race. Now it is time to have a look at our feature events. The first one we'll be looking at is the Ascot Gold Cup, and unfortunately it was an incident-plagued Ascot Gold Cup. Let's take a look at the concluding stages. Take note of the graphic on the screen. Push and Shapes, the leader, has gone almost 10 lengths quicker than the benchmark. Let's have a look.
Dark Musket, 600 to travel. They bunch up on the inside. Push and Shapes tested now by Missile Launch. He goes up, he gets within ahead of Push and Shapes. No run at the moment. Prize Catch. Elegant Blast came off the bridle quickly, way too quickly, coming into the corner. Dark Musket, then it's a him dropping out. Push and Shapes, Missile Launch. They've locked horns here as they turn for home, and they've kicked 3 clear from Prize Catch, Elegant Blast, and then Dark Musket. Missile Launch headed Push and Shapes, but Prize Catch keeps coming. A second win now for Elegant Blast. Dark Musket cut back to the inside. Prize Catch reached the lead. Elegant Blast is trying valiantly, but Prize Catch had the sweetest run throughout.
Prize Catch winning the Ascot Gold Cup there. Now, we mentioned the speed off the top of that replay, Mark. How did you assess it?
Yeah, look, you mentioned it. Push and Shapes went about 10.5 lengths faster than the benchmark. I think he's the Forgive horse here for what went on before the race. He came back with an abrasion to a nostril and to both of his eyes. I think Forgive, Push and Shapes, this is a horse that's won a couple of big cups in recent times. The Forget horse has to be to him. His best days are certainly behind him, this former Group 1 winner. And the Follow horse, if you can trust the format of this race, and I don't think you can, but I do think that Dart Musket ran quite well, finished third, nice run off what was a trial win, certainly looking for a little bit further, you'd think, later in the carnival.
Well, definitely we saw Dark Musket win the WA Cup over 3,200 metres, so no doubt that the horse stays, and towards a Perth Cup, good things look in store for Dark Musket. All right, the next race was the Listeer, and all eyes were on Enticing Star, but in a bit of an upset, well, the punter sort of found Gadding, $41 into $21. Let's have a look at the impressive racing galloper winning the Listia.
Booker down on the inside, third, Scales of Justice with Akanar Star, beautifully placed. Now Star Exhibit comes around his heels as they start to get a wriggle on. Gadding's off the fence as well, followed by Perfect Jewel. Pike's hard at work on Enticing Star. Around the corner now at the 350, and Akanar Star ranged up to Man Booker. Great shot, a length away, Star Exhibit. Down on the inside, Scales of Justice. Gadding's right behind them. Further back, Enticing Star. 150 to go. Great shot, fights back Akanar Star. Gadding's closing them down though. It's Gadding over the top, beat Akanar Star. Great shot.
Gadding really running away from them there, but I guess the big question mark to come out of the Listia was Enticing Star and heading towards the Winterbottom. We know she had her excuses. She was in season, and out the back, I must say, she was heavily in season. She was squealing, and there is that excuse. How do the times read?
I think there's enough in the data to suggest she wasn't right on Saturday. She didn't come home anywhere near as well as she has done in previous runs, and given that the tempo was very, very slow, I think Enticing Star was probably 3 or 4 lengths off the acceleration we would expect over the final 3 furlongs. So she is the forgive horse here. However, I said it on the programme a couple of weeks ago, I don't think she can win the Winterbottom. I think she wants further. The Forget horse is great shot. He had every chance on the speed again here. This horse hasn't won since the Railway Stakes of 2017. He's a great performer, but I just think he's too high up in the weights to be going back-to-back in the Group 1. And the follow horse, I think, has to be Gadding. Really good sectionals, fastest sectionals, good sprint off what was 2 trials. The horse might be a different horse's preparation.
It was just such a wonderful performance, really extended away from them. And in the next race, the Faritha, well, the celebrations just kept continuing for the McAuliffe camp with the Velvet King making it a feature double.
King Black Sabbath is down on the inside, being closely attended here by Chicks Pick. A length and a half away behind those. Final hearing coming to the home corner. Then Unicat going up next of all is True Defender between horses. Over on the inside, Lord Help Me Run. Back there as well as Regal Power coming around the turn. Right off the track, Regal Council. The Velvet King dashes to the lead. 300 left to travel though. It's the Velvet King booting 2 in front from Black Sabbath. Then came Chicks Pick. Lord Help Me Run threading his way through. He's charging home towards the inside with 100 to go. The Velvet King still in front though, clear, and this is going to be a great D-Mac double. He clinches the Listia. He takes out the Faritha.
The Velvet King winning the Faritha there, and at this time of year always comes the big talking point of the fillies versus the colts and geldings and who's going better. We'll touch on that a little bit later in the show, but how did you assess this Faritha?
I thought the Forgive horse had to be Platoon Drew. The outside gate had the fastest sectionals, having to go back from that wide alley. Looks like it's peaking for the Guineas is Platoon. I thought the Forgive horse in the Faritha. The Forget horse is Unicat. Certainly its worst run of its 4 this campaign, but those 3 midweek wins weren't particularly high rating anyway, and I thought it was a bit silly, to be honest, that Unicat was going around about 10-1 to win this race. The follow horse, I think Lord Help Me Run is back. He had excuses last start. He was a bit soft, I think, off that first up run. I did put him in the Forget file. You're back into the follow file here, Lord Help Me Run. Thought it was a very good run in the Faritha.
It was, and finally in the final event, Sean McGrady was able to turn the tables because he'd come second on Lord Help Me Run the race before. He'd come second on Akanar Star, and finally Blackwood River was able to give him a win.
The 650, and it's all Prue. She's now 6-7 in front, going for home. Prue well before the corner. Blackwood River second. Onifik came off the steel very quickly, and Ukbar Jack about to angle away from the fence. He's now starting to see a bit of daylight. The leader's coming back to them. Jaspara's tracking up towards the rail, then Rare Coin, Master Pearl. Right off the track, Rogan Scent, followed then by Sentimental Friend, looking for the shortest way home. Back towards the rail as Blackwood River race straight past Prue. At the 200, he'd kicked away. Blackwood River from Ukbar Jack running on. Jaspara battles away. At the 100 though, Blackwood River still well clear and in no danger. Blackwood River draws right away to win it from Ukbar Jack. Jaspara.
Blackwood River breaking his maiden there. What's your take on this race, Mark?
Look, wasn't in love with this race and the numbers out of it. The Forgive horse, I think, is Sigil here. Finished 4th, was slow away, over race, but did come home with the fastest sectionals. I did think the 1800 metres 2 starts ago was possibly a little bit too far, but maybe he may be looking for that after all. The Forget horse, this will be controversial. SJ Miller knows how to train a Guineas winner, and he did it 2 years ago with variation through an unconventional path, and he's trying to do it again this season with Blackwood River. But for mine, that was another low rating performance. I know you can only beat what's in front of you, but he'll have to run a hell of a lot better to win the Guineas. And the follow horse, almost by default, the aforementioned Sigil.
Well, you are very brave. One for getting Blackwood River. I was really taken with Sean McGrady's comments. It was his first time on the horse, but he seemed a bit bullish. He goes, no, this is a nice horse. It's going to get 2,000 metres on its ear, so maybe one to look for when it is getting over these further trips. And, well, following Sigil is just a non-winner, isn't he? He does 8 starts this campaign. He's finished in the placings about 5 times. I think he's finished 4th 3 times. He's always so consistent from a heavy 8, good for anything, consistent, but just needs to win that race.
You just got to believe.
You just have to believe he'll win one day, won't he? Okay, let's have a look. What were the overall ratings out of Saturday's meeting?
Well, the best overall rating, it was a tie actually between Prize Catch in the Ascot Gold Cup and Dance Music, who won the first race. From a class rating perspective, well, that clearly went the way of Dance Music, minus 5.9 lengths faster than the class you'd expect for that 3-year-old race. And in terms of the closing sectionals, and this is why Stageman is still in the follow file, or maybe even the forgive file here, he had the fastest last 200, last 400 and last 600, and also a mention there for How to Fly in the 600 metres.
Yeah, it was the fastest last 600 for both of them there. All right, we'll take a quick break, and on the other side, we will be looking at the tipping competition. Let's see who is still in front.
At Tab Touch, our bettering department comes up with new ways to better your betting experience, like putting better features at your fingertips, such as Sky Racing and Super Pick.
But if you think we're just doing what every other betting company does, think again. Because we're also giving a portion of every bet to fund a better racing industry. And better your local. So better your bet with Tab Touch.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Welcome back to the run of the race. Now it is the time when we look at our Tipstar competition, and this week we've got 2 rounds to assess because of course we had the Melbourne Cup meeting as well as Saturday's meeting. Let's start with the Melbourne Cup meeting. Was it a moving day, Mark?
No, it wasn't a moving day, as they say in golf. Normally the Saturdays when you make your charge. I remember Tiger Woods doing it all of the time in the 90s. Look, it wasn't a moving day. The best way home was to tip Alta Solomori for your big bet and to tip most of the winners, the exception being race number 2, where it was better to be on Hidden Addiction for the place. The best possible score you could have got was 1,431. The winner was Gordon Day. Congratulations, Gordon. You had a score of 1,025. He had his big bet on Royal Statue. He had a pretty good day on the punt, it has to be said. He tipped 6 of the 9 winners and he got a return in 2 of the other 3 races.
It's quite amazing, really. You look at how well he did on that day. Now let's have a look on Saturday, where our winner, well, they didn't tip all of them, but sometimes it's just getting that all-important big bet right, and that's what we keep seeing. And Saturday probably was a moving day.
Yeah, it was one of these days again where it was best off tipping the entire card. The last race was the exception here with Jaspara, paid $8.90 the play, so it was better than back in the winner there. You could have got almost 3,600 points if you played your cards right. Darren Brody, congratulations Darren, you did sensationally well here. Only tipped the 1 winner, but when that 1 winner is the Celt at $37.40 and you've got the big bet on it, you move.
Goes to show it helps backing values sometimes, and let's have a look where that leaves him on the leaderboard, and under the alias of Brody36, that puts him in 2nd position. Still hasn't been able to reel in BJF77, who is on 4,281 points, but it's becoming a close race, plenty more chances here, and of course the next round is this Saturday, and no William Pike this weekend either, so I think that will mean that there's a little bit more value to be found.
Yeah, 7 rounds to go as well. So look, you know, if you've not entered thus far, there's still time. And if you got all the tips correct last Saturday, you'd be 3rd on the ladder.
Well, it goes to show if you can have 1 good round, you can definitely get up there. Let's have a look at what we have in store this weekend. And the Colonel Reeves will be one of the highlights. Let's have a look at the last 3 editions.
Off the fence, Mad As has got the run through though. Here's Liberty's Gem, Waterman's Bay and Rock Magic coming down the outside as well. Scheidel at the 100, Liberty's Gem joined it. Tackled by Waterman's Bay, Rock Magic, Waterman's Bay, Rock Magic on the outside. I thought he might have got the bomb in. Rock Magic. Military Rain coming back. Rock Magic is coming down the outside. Vega Magic, the leader. Look at Rock Magic coming. Rock Magic flying. Vega Magic stopping. Rock Magic gunning him down. Went to the line. Nothing in it. Winding up, Pike still looking for a run down on the inside with State Solicitor. Kuiperini got to the lead. Prophet Street, Durandal driving through with Whispering Brook, and now State Solicitor. He's coming with a brilliant run. State Solicitor. State Solicitor has got home to score.
State Solicitor winning the most recent edition there, and one of the big curveballs is that Scales of Justice is heading towards this race.
Yeah, Lindsay Smith likes to try new and interesting things, and he's going to throw Scales of Justice into the Colonel Reeves, try and get some life into the old boy's legs here. He was first up. He was pretty good in Lillesterre in the circumstances, and he obviously will try and back up into the Railway Stakes that he won 2 years ago.
Yeah, speaking of Scales of Justice, the next race to have a look at is the RJ Peters Highlights, and Scales of Justice is one of the features.
At the 300, led by 3. Here comes Battle Hero starting its run, and so's Responded, My Sister Lil. But Hazabeel down to the 150, still clear. 3 in front of Battle Hero, followed by Responded. But it's Hazabeel all of the way. Hazabeel too good in the Peters Stakes. Now starting to run on his Ideal Image as well. Testamezo behind them. It's Scales of Justice, they reaching the lead. Bass Straight, he's coming down the outside with a late run. Scales of Justice, Bass Straight, the previous winner, won't get to him, and Scales of Justice. The 200, Proper Randy's the leader. Royal Star called upon, sets after him. It's Proper Randy's Royal Star, then Variation. Proper Randy's in front, holding Royal Star though. Proper Randy's, and in a boil over, Proper Randy's beat Royal Star. Variation third home from Material Man.
The last 3 editions of the RJ Peters there, and like most of these feature races that we're seeing, there's a bit at stake in this race.
Yes, it's the last chance to become ballot exempt for the Railway Stakes if you win the RJ Peters. Properantes won it last year. He was ballot exempt, but he wasn't a nomination, so he couldn't go around.
Now, this is a huge day of racing. We've still got another feature race. Let's have a look at the Champion Fillies and the last 3 editions.
Down the outside, it's Blackwood, but look at Perfect Reflection. The Perfect filly hits overdrive. Arcadia Dream giving chase, but it's 4 out of 4. A stunning filly, Perfect Reflection. Too good here in the Champion Fillies beat the stablemate Arcadia Dream and Blackwood. 2 lengths away, Ellie Kazuma. At the 200, Samovar stormed to the front though. It's Samovar booting 2 clear. Here's Ellie Kazuma. She's starting to storm down the outside. He draws the whip on Samovar. She's responding, and it's Samovar. Samovar home with the Champion Fillies from Ellie Kazuma. It's a photo for third. Nice go. Private Dancer hit the front, but here comes the favourite. It's Mickey Moto ranging up joints. Private Dancer over on the inside, running on his special alert. Mickey Moto has to dig, and Art Series is coming late. It's Art Series driving up inside of special. Private Dancer, they split it. Art Series might have got it.
Some very good fillies winning some of the champion fillies in recent years. Now, I think it's going to be a really intriguing race on Saturday, and one of the key form races is this one, the Burgess Queen on Melbourne Cup Day.
Princess Piero at the 650. Lady Cosmology led the Burgess Queen field, 3/4 clear from the stablemate Flirtini. Colourful Chloe's covered additional ground. Down on the inside, running fourth is Shapita. Dornamata's in the middle, and they're being followed at the 400 next of all by Leading Girl Nawi. Arcadia Queen about 5 or 6 lengths from Lady Cosmology, and Harvey's gone for home. Lady Cosmology from Flirtini. They've booted 3 in front from Shapita. Leading Girl further back in the field is Arcadia Queen. Down to the 150, Lady Cosmology. She's holding Flirtini. Down the outside, Arcadia Queen, but Lady Cosmology, she's too good. She wins, leading all the way in the Burgess Queen.
Lady Cosmology finally getting the race that she deserved. How did you see the Burgess Queen this year?
I thought it was a high rating race, certainly much higher than the equivalent boys race, the Fair Rita. They ran around 7 lengths faster than they did on Saturday. I'm pretty confident to say these girls are better than the boys if you're thinking about having a bet into the Guineas markets. The Forgive horse in the Burgess Queen for mine was Leading Girl, was the second fastest last 200, was a decent effort, you'd have to say, stepping up in class after a couple of wins. The Forget horse, Sayed, is now really exposed as being below the required level. And the Follow horse, and I think a worthy favourite for the WA Guineas, Arcadia Queen, fastest sectionals, would have won in another 100 metres given the times that she recorded home. Minus 8.3 lengths faster than the benchmark the last 600. She should be winning in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, I think the big question with the WA Guineas is just how these fillies handle the amount of racing, and I guess we'll find out a little bit more on Saturday with the champion fillies. And on course, it's really become Ladies' Day, hasn't it?
Certainly has. We've got a late start on Saturday. We're expecting the first race to jump at 1:24 and go all the way through to 5:47. But Champion Fillies Day has been a really good day for Perth racing since the launch of the Masters, and it is our Ladies' Day.
Well, ladies, make sure you get your dresses and your headpieces ready. Boys, make sure you come out because there'll be plenty of girls to have a look at. We all know the boys always love that. Hope to see you out here on Saturday. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's program. Bye for now.
She makes her bid for a little piece of history.